Reviewing Faith of a Mustard Seed by DJ Mustard. Super producer DJ Mustard follows up producing a number one record for Kendrick, Not Like Us, with the familiar DJ producer curated album that many hip hop fans will know. Most of the time, these producer curated albums are often lackluster and not really worth the listen, save for a record or two, just like any DJ Khaled one. So I don't really go into these albums with high expectations, or really any expectations at all. But this DJ Mustard album might be the greatest producer album I've ever heard. From front to back, it's non-stop gas. It feels like he was storing up all of his best records and verses for this album for a long time in order to craft something to compete for Rap Album of the Year. And while the year is not out, the amount of records I instantly added to my favorites catapulted into the running for me. It opens up with a gospel intro, Show Me the Way, featuring Kirk Franklin, connecting to the biblical mustard seed theme of the album. Followed by Up Now, a hard bouncy West Coast bop with Yachty, Blue Bloods Clan, and 42 Dugg. Yachty continues his multi-year streak of being a part of nothing but fire with this collab, and the 42 Dugg verse on this song is better than any on his own album. Next is a duo that in my opinion is unstoppable, Vince Staples and Schoolboy Q on Pressured Up. Beat sounds like a modern spin on G-Funk, something that can't fit more for the two rappers on it. Track matches up with previous fire collabs between the two like Back Selling Crack and Ride Out. One of them ones is an ass shaking anthem with Quavo and Rob 49. Production sounds very much Juvenile, Back That Ass Up inspired, as well as the lyrics. This one, for my personal taste, is a lowlight, but will def work in the club and speaks to how good the album is overall, that a record this good is one of the worst ones. The single Parking Lot is cracked to me. It's cool to hear Travis Scott outside of his own sound and adapt when getting on a more poppy West Coast instrumental, and the vocal sample that backs it is heavenly. A song for Mom with Ty Dolla $ign, Charlie Wilson, and Masego is cool and a nice departure from the party and bitches content that the album has until that point. A track that is not too replayable for me unless at certain moments, but if you're 35 plus, I could see that one being a favorite. Worth a Heartbreak with A Boogie and Blast is a record that I've been waiting for because those two artists just make too much sense sonically and content wise. Blast's smooth West Side barbecue bounce is the perfect vehicle for A Boogie's classic heartbreak vocals and makes for one of my favorites on the album. Roddy Ricch has been dropping some pretty consistently great tracks, and Truth is another one of them. I hope that he can follow up these singles with a solid solo project unlike his last. And Mustard has already produced likely his best record in Ballin', so it makes sense that they hit another one out of the park here. Mines is another slower R&B type record with Future, Charlie Wilson, and Ty Dolla $ign again. I like this one a lot more than a song for Mom because Future is on it. And Charlie Wilson and Ty Dolla $ign harmonizing together is something that if you don't like, you should get your ears checked or just sliced off entirely. One Bad Decision with LMA and Roddy Ricch is cool, and I actually grew up listening to that original Wyclef 911 record, but I didn't like it too much then, and this new interpolation doesn't land that hard for me either. Yak's Prayer is just a display of one of the best storytelling, picture painting rappers we have in the game today, Kodak Black. Mustard gives him room with minimal keys, bass, and drum pattern for him to go could have been different mode, and likely my favorite record on the project. Ghetto with Young Thug and Lil Durk is an acoustic guitar-led bassy bop that you might find on Beautiful Thugger Girls, and finds them reminiscing about how even though they have bread now, you can't take the ghetto out of them. Then the project closes with Pray For Me, where Mustard gives a spoken word type soliloquy, reminiscing on his journey and the struggles and how he appreciates everyone in his life that believed in him before it became reality. Bookending the project with a gospel choir back in the instrumental. To me, Faith of a Mustard Seed is one of the most complete producer-made projects I've heard in a long time and likely ever. This stands up to some of the best projects this year, like Schoolboy Q's Blue Lips, Metro and Future's We Don't Like You, A Boogie's Better Off Alone, and Lucky's Gemini. And in my opinion, I wouldn't be surprised to see a Grammy nom for Mustard for this project this year, scoring Faith of a Mustard Seed 9.3 out of 10, straight crack.